go away and I come back, that first show that we have that is live, the very first one, I got chill bumps. I'm ready to go. We're finally back. We're live. Good to be here with you. A lot of shit's going on since we've kind of been able to talk live. We got to talk about Hoover. Oh, boy, did y'all pan. Hold on. Did y'all really think that your boy was going to come into tonight's show and not talk about some of the completely unhinged shit that was said this weekend about Jay Johnson, this LSU baseball team? You thought your boy was just going to pass that. Ain't no chance in double hockey sticks chance in hell that we was going to pass that up. But we got a lot of really good baseball stuff that we got to talk about tonight. Postseason is here. LSU is a top 6 seed. Interesting. It would be as if that Wednesday show just never existed. Now, I don't agree with Auburn being above LSU for all of those that have already seen it. I don't agree with that Auburn should have been a top 4 seed. I don't. But they swept us. They also got swept by Texas. They also got swept by Georgia. Georgia swept Auburn, and Georgia's not ahead of Auburn. None of that matters because you're a top 6 seed, or top 8 seed, I should say, but you're at number 6. And the road to Omaha goes through Baton Rouge. So we'll talk about that regional here tonight. In case you did miss it, the regional for LSU is going to be LSU Dallas Baptist, a.k.a. DBU, Rhode Island Rams. My co-host Joe DeLeon, a proud graduate of Rhode Island, and Little Rock out of Arkansas. So we'll talk about those teams. We won't do full breakdowns on them tonight on a Monday, but we will talk about those teams. Some probably 3 big things that you should know about those teams and their seasons before we start taking the week and really start talking about them. We'll give you our thoughts on the freshmen that reported this week for LSU football. I told you it was here, man. I told you it was here. I don't know if you didn't listen, didn't hear me. It's here. The football team reports next week. Actually, they report this weekend if we're just being blunt. So football's right around the corner. Some things that we need to talk about for football at the end of the show here, too. We'll talk about the Clemson Regional as well, as you are paired up with the Clemson Regional. Kind of really funny how sports works, man. So you have the potential to take on Clemson, and no matter what happens, the trash talking between Clemson and LSU fans could be at an all-time high come the end of August. Could you imagine Clemson being in Baton Rouge during baseball? Let's say that you do beat the Clemson Tigers in a super regional in Baton Rouge. Oh, by the way, you go up to Clemson, South Carolina, in week 1 for the football season. I don't know if Clemson, hell, I'm not going to say I don't know if you, because LSU did get a favorable draw here. I don't know if Clemson's coming out of their regional. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight too. But hold up. Before we get rolling, as I see a lot of you trickling in here, bro, I love first shows back. I feel like we should take more breaks, if I'm being honest. I feel like we should take more breaks because right now there's 590 of you in here, and we're only 6 minutes in. Only 6 minutes in. I love being back. But I do need to talk about this before we get to the break. We got to start the show off with this because LSU did go to the SEC tournament this past week and weekend, I guess you should say, beat Texas A&M on Friday and lost to Ole Miss on Saturday, and offensively didn't do worth a Rudy poo. Boy, this weekend I'm glad I was away because I heard some craziness that I need to discuss with you. Because Jay Johnson is not one of the LSU former coaches. He doesn't act like them. He doesn't manage like them. He doesn't walk, talk, recruit like them. Because I don't think that we fully understand I really don't think that we fully understand the dude that we have in Baton Rouge as our head coach. In case you missed it, this week, Jay Johnson got compared to Les Miles. He was compared to Ed Orgeron a month ago, ironically, almost to the day. This week, he does some stuff like Les Miles. What are we doing? That accompanies LSU facing off against A&M, facing off against Ole Miss, who, guys, Ole Miss had a fantastic week of baseball. Sounds great. Sounds good. You did not do anything against them at the plate. Sounds good. Sounds good. I don't like it. I don't like that LSU damn near only got 2 hits, or not damn near, that they only got 2 hits against Ole Miss on Saturday. Don't like it. Hate it. But I also remember a team in 2023 who showed up flatter than a Coke that's been sitting out all night with the cap off. And then went on to the regional and super regional. And when it mattered most, at home, those teams performed. Guys, this football mentality into baseball has got to stop. Comparing Jay Johnson, who, by the way, should never be compared to any coach that has been at LSU for football since 2000 other than one. And it's not Ed, and it sure as shit is not Les Miles. If Jay Johnson finds his way back to Nebraska this year, specifically in Omaha, 4 of the last 8 total seasons that he has been a head coach, he has found himself in Omaha. Stop. It is idiotic. It is stupid. And it's flat right dumb. I can understand the comparisons in reference to he manages like Les Miles. Dog, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I go away for 3 days and you lose a game against a soaring Ole Miss team that it looked really good. Guys, they had your number on Saturday. That is baseball when you play in this league. I don't like that LSU can go on the road and get flat. I hate it. We will talk about those issues in just a moment when we talk about the regional. But my God, a top 6 team in the country, a top 6 seed in the country. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. And the little manger that the little man was born in. What are we doing? It beats every single thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, I'm not going to go in great detail here, but a lot of you, damn near all of you, when the regional and specifically the teams that got in your regional was announced, a lot of you came out and said, oh man, that's very favorable. When you have dudes like Jay, they know what they got to do behind the scenes to make sure when it comes to postseason playtime, it's all that matters. Who's the president of the selection committee? If you find out that answer, you'll find out what I'm talking about. But, bro, losing a game in the SEC tournament made some of you unhinged. And the last time you did that, LSU went out there and smacked the dog shit out of Tennessee, ruled them in game 3, turned around 2 weekends after that at home and beat the number 2 seed in the country 2 out of 3. And in some of those situations, beat the dog shit out of them. Beat the ever-living shit out of them. Anthony Ianson dicked down Arkansas. Oh, wait. What happened in game 2 versus Arkansas? Oh, that's right. It is very tough to win on the road in this league. It always has been, And it always will be. Don't you think that I forgot? Don't let the absence of this show fool you about what we see and don't see. Guys, Jay might be, outside of Kim Mulkey, he might be the best coach on your campus. This man came out in a press conference last week, by the way, and said the following. Guys, we're a 40-win team. We're the number one team in the country. And I feel like every time I come out here to the podium, I'm having a fight to tell you how good my team is. He's not wrong, because that is always the talking point. And I understand when you're at LSU, there is a much higher standard than everywhere else in the country. Well, we don't contribute in NIL like everywhere else in the country. Ask your cousin that's got all the sources if you don't believe me. You're not outpaying Tennessee at the current moment, and in some situations, you're not outpaying Texas. And that might be the overall situation that you're in. But if you're the standard, you got to pay the standard too. Don't you ever forget that. But guys, I got to be real. I've never in my life seen a team and seen a coach that is a national title contender who has not given you any reason to hate on him for you to hate on him. It sounds personal to me. For what? Guys, last weekend, him and Skip Bertman had the same exact record at LSU when they started. And before you say, well, you know what? He inherited a really good team. No, he inherited Dylan Cruz. That's what he inherited. He inherited a team that was 13-17 in the league. Jay doesn't know what he's doing. He's not throwing Jake Brown out there against left-handed hitting. Well, then Jake Brown goes out there against a left-handed pitcher, and what happens? What happens? Oh, he's hitting 175. So he throws in Josh Pearson. What are we doing? The logic has left the building. It's left the building. Driving back from Georgia today. Atlanta. Sitting so we're on the way back. We stop in Auburn at a Buc-ee's. The one that Ben took the big old dump into a year ago. And we get back in the car, and I'm thinking to myself, number one, I know what we're going to talk about because we're going to get to that next, and talking about the Baton Rouge Regional, talking about postseason. We know all of that. But I was thinking about what we just all mentioned here and what we just discussed. And I'm thinking to myself, what? I mean, I don't agree with Jay on every single decision that he makes. We all have different opinions, and that's fine. You might not like the man, but to compare him to a guy who constantly ran out on Saturdays and mismanaged clock situations, literally would eat grass. He would go to the podium and be incoherent, would talk about the great Italians and Christopher Columbus Day. You're comparing his decision-making to that dude. The decision-making to Les Miles is not close. It's not on the same stratosphere. And that's the narrative that we have this week. By the way, you're a top 8 seed in the country. You're a top 8 seed in the country. It beats everything I've ever seen. Why are you throwing Anthony Ianson and Kate Anderson on the same day? Because Jay knew that he wasn't leaving the top 8. He knew it. And he wanted both of his aces to get work. He told you, if you listen to any of his press conferences, literally last Wednesday, exactly what he was going to do. He said, I'm going to get both of my aces work, and I'm going to get some guys that we haven't had a lot of work coming out of the pen going there. Did you see Kason Evans and Zach Cowan this week? No! So either you're not listening, you're not paying attention, or you don't believe what he says. He didn't try to go in there and win it. He threw 2 guys out of the bullpen, tossing 100. What? That also got massively missed this week. every coach that will ever come and put on the purple and gold has to be critiqued on the decisions that they make. But sometimes I feel like at this place, from a media perspective, we take things too far. Guys, the show of thumbs in the chat. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you think that Les Miles and Jay Johnson have the same type of managerial-esque type of situation? They overmanage. What is he overmanaging? Good Lord. It just beats everything that I've ever seen in my entire existence. I'm not the man's keeper, but God dog, I'm here it is. I'm just at a loss for words, man. I don't know what to say. So listen, we're about to talk about this regional when we get out of this break here. And I think LSU is going to win it. But man, if they go on and win the regional, they go on and win a super regional, and they go back to Omaha, what are you going to complain about? We should have won it. Yeah, if you get there, you want to win it. You want to always win a national title. I get that. I get it. But my goodness gracious alive. Just beats everything that I've ever seen. All right, let's get to a quick break. I see a lot of comments in here. Where is everybody watching from tonight? Where is everybody watching from tonight? Cody says no. P-Dub says the less comp is comical. Yes, it's comical. No, it's P-Dub. It's worse than comical. It's worse. It's atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. All right. Let me get to a quick break. We'll come back and break down this regional next. Everyone, do us a favor, though, while we're away. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Before we get rolling, let's talk about our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media, where they soar above the competition. Guys, if you need the right lead, smart systems with real growth, you need to get a marketing system that works for you today. Go over to servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io. If you're in HVAC work, generator pros, electrical work, whatever you're doing as a business, guys, you need to get over to Service Hawk Digital Media so that they can get your marketing in the right direction. That's Service Hawk Digital Media, where they soar above the competition. Let me get you a quick break. When we come back, we got lots to discuss about this Baton Rouge Regional. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority.
We're back.
All right. Let's get to it here. So, got to put in a Zen, though. We got to put in the rally pillows. Every time we're talking about LSU, we got to put in the rally pillows. So, the Baton Rouge Regional is set. The 4 teams are set to come. Well, I say to come to Baton Rouge, but one of them's already here. But the Baton Rouge Regional is set. The 4 teams that will be in the regional: LSU, Arkansas, Little Rock, Dallas Baptist, and Rhode Island. Let's start off with the inevitable. Earlier, we talked about how a lot of you probably stated, and probably rightfully so, that LSU's regional seemed very favorable. And I am not here to disagree with you, because I do think that there are some reasonable things here. Now, if you went down the entire tournament and you went down bracket to bracket, I could say that there are, some teams that for sure got some very difficult draws. Ole Miss, the 10 seed, getting Georgia Tech. But if you put Georgia Tech anywhere, it's going to be bad on any team. They deserve to be in. Are you going to put them in a team that was at number 6? Or are you going to put them in a team that was at number 10? I don't know. It's not my decision to do that. Or you look at the Hattiesburg Regional with Southern Miss. Well, the 16th team in the country probably does deserve the toughest regional that should be out there. And I do think that they have the toughest regional, as Hattiesburg is going to be hosting in USM, Miami, Alabama. Now, in reference to Baton Rouge and LSU, I do think it's very favorable for you. There's no hiding from it, and quite frankly, there's no running from it. But somebody was going to get Arkansas Little Rock. Do you want to bring them up to Arkansas? Well, they played Arkansas this year. We'll get to that in a moment. Rhode Island won their conference, just like Rhode Island did. Just like Little Rock did. Where are they going to go? Somebody is going to get these matchups. Now, I still think Texas got a very favorable schedule. Very favorable bracket. Very favorable bracket for the team that for the longest time throughout the entire season was the number 1 team in the country before Vanderbilt overtook them for the number 1 overall seed. But there is one team in here that's in the Baton Rouge Regional that I think that everybody sees DBU, and that we beat them early in the season in the midweek and say to ourselves, quit it. Blake, quit it. We beat DBU. They're not any good. DBU had a very strong chance of hosting. Kind of a little bit of a flunder and a blunder down the stretch as they played Jacksonville State 3 times this past weekend and lost twice. Didn't get a regional host. And that is understandably so, because we'll talk a lot about DBU this week. And I don't think that you should overlook them in the slightest. And we're going to start off with them tonight. Guys, we already know what Dallas Baptist is. We did see them. And quite frankly, guys, they're a really solid team. A very solid team. Now, if you remember earlier in the season, when LSU did play DBU, it was the Connor Ware game where he came out and he looked electric, and you're thinking early in the season, man, is Connor Ware going to be that third guy? Is Connor Ware going to be the guy that you can come out to on a Sunday type situation? If Chase Shores doesn't work out as a starter, do you go to Connor Ware? Because, man, that DBU performance was really good. And that's what a lot of us thought in the 7-3 win against Dallas Baptist. But here's the truth. There are other SEC teams, mainly Oklahoma, but 2 teams in the tournament that they did play. And then they played Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. They blasted Oklahoma multiple times. In the first one, they beat Oklahoma 11-0. In the second game versus Oklahoma, they beat them 9-1. So remember that team that you played in the beginning of the season who you held down to only 3 runs? That same team went into a game against Oklahoma and won a series against them, basically. And didn't only beat them, they whipped the dog shit out of them. Guys, in 2 games, they scored 20 runs. Well, Blake, Oklahoma's not LSU. You're right, they're not. But they still blasted the shit out of them. They also beat Oklahoma State and TCU, 2 tournament teams. Against TCU, they had to walk it off and won 6-5 in the 10th. The same with Oklahoma State when they won 8-7 in the 11th. Because DBU's a real team, and they're a real squad. What got missed in all of this was that you had Little Rock and that you had Rhode Island in the bracket with you, and everybody's like, absolute no names. Absolute no names. But they got in. Well, if I'm LSU, I'm not gonna say anything about it because the structure of the tournament is if you win your conference's tournament, you get an automatic bid, which, by the way, I still think is very dumb. I think it's very dumb. It puts no innings on the offseason. 0, zilch, nada. We saw a team in Hammond, Louisiana that was a co-champion of their conference, and because they didn't win their own conference in their tournament, they're out. Don't know how fair that is. Dallas Baptist is a team that if you're not careful, guys, they got a crap load of talent. They have a big-time left fielder who will blast the shit out of the baseball. We'll talk about it a lot this week. A big-time catcher that is great defensively and will run one out of the park. Shit, he ran one out on you earlier in the year. Don't mistake seeing DBU, a lower-tier team, being in your regional, because they can come to Baton Rouge and win it. I don't know if there is a team, for what it's worth, that can come into Baton Rouge against this LSU team, though, and beat them. I'm not predicting, nor do I think. Do I think there's a scenario that LSU could lose the regional? Absolutely. And we'll get to the bats in just a moment. And what we saw in the game versus Ole Miss. But, man, they're a really solid club. And the justification from a lot of you is going to be, Blake's trying to sell hot air at me. He's trying to push a narrative that doesn't exist. Well, then you're going to have to tell me how they went 4-1 against conference teams, and the only conference teams that they lost to are conference teams. The only teams, I say conference team meaning SEC, and Big 12. Guys, tournament teams with big-name profile programs, they went 4-1 against. They blasted Oklahoma, an SEC team, twice. Well, Blake, that's the midweek. And your point? What's your point? Shit, guys, we went into that DBU game because they're a top 15 team saying, hey, man, listen, they might not be one of the elite teams in the SEC, but this is not a pushover game. And guess what? It wasn't. It wasn't. They can win your regional. Now, before I get to LSU, I want to mention something about Rhode Island and Little Rock. Let's start with Rhode Island. Because Rhode Island had a 4-game series this year with Oregon. And Oregon has been a solid club this year. Not great, not perfect, but very solid. They did lose the series against Oregon 3-1. They went into Oregon. They went into Eugene and beat them in game 1, 12-11. They lost game 2, 1-0. They lost game 3, 19-12. They lost game 3, 15-2, which tells me this. They ran out of pitching in game 4. Guys, they legitimately gave Oregon all that they could handle. Every little bit that they can handle. Guys, scrappy teams that get hot late in baseball should give you a little, all right, they ain't coming here and winning. We better take them serious. And guys, quite frankly, you should take everybody seriously. And that's how I think that Jay Johnson is going to take this weekend. Because of course he is. You see Rhode Island, you see a team from up north, and you think to yourself, they're ass. Guys, they're not complete ass. They're not better than you. And nobody in your regional is more talented than you. Guys, you can make the justification, and if everything was played on paper, you can make the justification that nobody in your regional, or therefore what would be your super regional, is more talented than you. But this is baseball. And anything can happen. It's what makes the game fantastically perfect in some scenarios. They're going to come in here and swing the sticks. They got an older club with a lot of guys that have seen a lot of baseball. And guys, experienced players scare the shit out of me in college baseball. We saw a team last year in Tennessee. We saw a team last year in A&M. We've seen teams in the past that have gone out in the portal and got these experienced players from no-name university, from Rudy Poo Tech or Ivy League Tech, and they've come in here and hit above 300 in this league. We've continuously seen it. We've seen it. We've breathed it. And Rhode Island's got a lot of upperclassmen that you're going to see. Upperclassmen that will come off the bench and pitch hit in critical situations. They have stuck around, and they've stuck with it. Good on the Rhode Island Rams. And then you have the game on Friday in your 4 seed that you'll see in Little Rock. Guys, there's no way in blue hell I can justify saying that, look, Rhode Island, they're scrappy. They beat Oregon. They lost 3 in a row, but they fought their ever-living asses off. Dallas Baptist beat the dog shit out of a couple of SEC teams, and also in extra innings beat 2 teams that are in the tournament. We can make that justification of these teams. Don't play around with them. Guys, Little Rock, I ain't coming up in here and justifying shit. They got hot at the right time. They don't have a winning record. They're Tulane. The Walmart version of Tulane. Remember in 2023 when Tulane came off in here, and out of nowhere they won their conference tournament. Out of nowhere, here come the Green Wave. I do think that Green Wave team was better than what you will see in Rhode Island. And it sparks the question, like it did in 2023, what is head coach Jay Johnson going to do? Is Jay going to run out Cade Anderson or Anthony Ianson out there in game 1? I have no idea. I know that he probably knows. But I also saw him take what would become Major League Baseball's starting pitcher for the National League in Paul Skeens and throw him against Tulane. And, guys, he got hit around a little bit. Go back and rewatch that game if you don't believe me. Paul gave up some runs. Paul gave up some hits. Paul had a line drive hit right off his leg, if you remember. Guys, there's no way in hell, none, no way in hell that you should lose this team. Little Rock is a team that got swept by Nichols. Guys, they got swept by Nichols. Blake, Nichols almost knocked us off. Yeah, you're right. They did. You're right. They did. Almost. They got swept by him. They got run-ruled by Arkansas. But in game 2 in a midweek, they lost 4-0. Guys, this team is not good. They're not good at all. This is baseball and anything can happen. And I get that. Teams get hot all the time and crazy shit happens. As we go along the week, I guess you can make the justification and see what Jay does. But guys, quite honestly, if you got to go into a game Friday and you just can't beat the dog shit out of Rhode Island and let the Sticks win it for you, then I don't know. And Jay's going to, and we all will do this throughout the week. We will all look at them and see what happened. How good are they as a team? How bad are they as a team? What have they overcome? What have they done in their tournament? Who do you throw? Do they go against lefty? What's their batting average against lefties? What is their batting average against righties? Do they struggle against elite spin? Do they struggle against an elite secondary pitch? Is what Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson has. Can you get away with holding off Cade Anderson and holding off Anthony Ianson? Can you do it? I don't know. I have no clue what he's going to do. But I'm glad that we have the option. And I'm glad that both of them got work in game one in the SEC tournament to give you that option. Now, I said this in a pre-recorded thing that we posted on YouTube while we were out. I hope so. I hope all of you watched it. But I'll say it again if you didn't hear it then. I'll say it what I said on Wednesday, what I said on Friday, and what I'm going to say today. Because Jay Johnson knew that he was in the top 8. There's no way that you can justify, oh, well, he knew he had to win a game in the tournament. The fuck he did. He knew he was in the top 8. You can't convince me otherwise. I cannot be convinced otherwise. You can try to justify the means. I'm not listening to it because there's no way he runs out there and brings out Anthony Ianson, brings out Cade Anderson, and tells you on Wednesday before going to the SEC tournament that he's going to do it. I want both of my aces to see action. And you thought that he was fucking going crazy. No, he was being legit. Do you think that he knew something that maybe you didn't? Newsflash, he did. Now, speaking of the tournament, because I have not been public in speaking about this. I know a lot of you are panicked about what you saw against Ole Miss. Guys, I've lost no sleep over it. 0. Maybe I am being too naive to the struggles of what we saw on Saturday. But this is how Blake Ruffino views it. And if you agree with it, great. If you don't, sounds good too. Because sometimes teams have your number. And I don't think any of us fully understand what happened with Ole Miss this weekend. I don't. They went up against Arkansas and they beat them, and they pretty much shut down one of, if not arguably, the SEC's best offensive team. Florida, who made the postseason, who started off the SEC 1-11, by the way, 1-11 was Florida, and they made the postseason based off of the run that they made in the half end of their schedule, and they're in. They're in. Poor Coastal Carolina is going to get that ass waxed. But they're in. Pause. They went up against you, and they went up against Vandy, who won the whole damn thing and the number 1 seed. And guys, quite frankly, if we're going to call a spade, they gave up 6 runs in 4 games. And any pitching staff that goes up against any SEC team at any given juncture in a 4-game span, and they give up 6 runs, that's elite shit. They're hitting on all cylinders, and good for Ole Miss. That is elite. You went on a similar run last year in the SEC tournament. Do you remember? Now, you weren't a host site. You weren't a team that deserved to be a host site. But, guys, teams can get very hot in a week. They can have a streaky week, and it's exactly what happened with Ole Miss. They dominated other teams besides you. But I understand the concern. Well, Blake, those other teams got runs. You're right. They did. You got 2 hits. And yes, I don't think that you can come into this situation and say to yourself, man, in the back of my mind, is that team going to show up? Because if you've been following this show religiously, And if you've been following any baseball content, what has been the number one talking point outside of the dumb bullshit that we got to compare Jay Johnson to Les Miles, other than that or Ed Orgeron, that stupid shit, what have we talked about? You went to Oklahoma and you swept them, but you didn't hit worth the shit. You went to Auburn, you didn't hit worth the shit. You went to A&M and you didn't hit worth the shit. Now, if you want to make the argument with me that, Blake, this team can't go on the road and the bats just go cold, fine. By all means, let's have the discussion because you're not technically wrong. But that team at home, this team at home has shown that they demolished the baseball. They demolished the baseball. So, in closing, for now, I know we're having some internet issues. I don't know what's going on here. All I will say is this. If we go into a situation thinking that this team is not an Omaha quality team based off of one game and an entire sample size, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I saw a team last year in LSU come 1 run short, well, really 2 runs short, of beating Tennessee, the national champion, in an SEC tournament. I saw it with my own eyes. So did you. I saw a team, then the next game that they would play, get in a dogfight with Wofford. I saw a team 2 years ago in Vanderbilt, which ironic that LSU's a top seed and Vandy won in 23, the SEC tournament in 23, and they won it again this year. It is ironic to me that we saw a Vandy team who a couple of years ago won the fucking tournament and was the hottest team that was out there, and then they turn around the next weekend and lost to Justin Lohr and Xavier. Guys, against Ole Miss, you made a lot of solid contact. You did. Ethan Fry's line drive to third with Jake Brown in motion. Curio had a couple of balls that he hit really hard. Guys, sometimes that's baseball. Now, again, you can have it because I do too. I have it in the back of my mind too. Well, Blake, man, that's the last game that we saw. What if we go into the regional and lay an egg again? I just have seen a team all year go on the road and struggle. And they've struggled. But here's the thing, though. I've also seen every team in the SEC go on the road most of the times and struggle. I just don't see a world and I don't see a situation humbly. I don't know if I see a situation where you go into this regional and you don't win it. This team is a different team at home. They've been that way since game 1. They were that same way in game 25 and 30. They're the same right now. And guys, quite frankly, it is what it is. But I am not going to base my entire life's opinion on this team because of one game. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I saw Tennessee with, guys, let's call it what it is, arguably the best, one of the best offensive lineups in the country. 7 of the 9 stars that they have are in double-digit home runs, and the 8th is 1 home run away from having 10. 7 of those 9 are hitting above 300. And I saw them get zilched by Vanderbilt and get run ruled. and got run ruled. As I mentioned in the beginning of this segment, you can't sleep on DBU. You just can't. They've gone up against SEC teams. They've gone up against tournament teams, and they've blasted the dog shit out of Oklahoma, and they went into extra innings versus TCU and Oklahoma State and won. You can't – you played them. You know the danger is real with them at the plate. It is very real. But I think you have the best 1-2 combo in the country. I think that you showed and you have a soaring Chase Shores who's throwing well over 100 and got up to 102 last weekend. And then Jacob Myers coming in here. Nate Yeske, tip of the cap. Hell of a job. For the guy that y'all wanted fired, hell of a job. It's a hell of a job, man. Hell of a job. But the one massive thing that got missed this weekend, more than anything, Jaden Newt looked good, Chase Shores looked good, and Jacob Myers looked really good. And guys, if you're going to get that level of production on the mound at home with this team who kills the baseball at home, you are going to fucking Omaha. You're going. I don't give a shit what any of y'all want to come in here and tell me. You will go. So we'll see. All right. Let me get to a quick break. I'm going to come back and get some of these comments and questions that are in here when we come back. Going to try to reset some things around here, make sure we get a little bit better picture. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. I always do that because Spectrum's being completely Rudy Poo right now, and I have no reason. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. Spectrum's been Rudy Poo as all Rudy Poo can get. And that is just true. Spectrum Internet and mobile service. We're going to have to probably go to what's Elon's thing? Is it Starlink? Anybody got a connection to Starlink, hook your boy up. If you got a connection to Starlink, I need y'all to hook your boy up. That's what I need. And I need one of y'all to pay for it. Yeah. Go Tiger says, don't sleep on DBU. Frick, no, don't sleep on DBU. Hell no. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. He's right. Biggie Bull. Says Blake, man, this regional we got. Oh my God. Then we get pre-LSU versus Clemson. So here's the thing. I am not sold. I am not completely sold that Clemson comes out of that regional. So we just got done talking about LSU and their regional, but they got paired with the Clemson regional. So Clemson has in their regional, themselves, obviously, upstate, Kentucky, and West Virginia. I don't know if Kentucky or West Virginia don't also. I could definitely see a world where Kentucky and West Virginia both could win that regional. Both. BOF, both. Both. Clemson's a solid squad, man. I mean, listen, the only upstate, I don't think they can win it. But if you told me that West Virginia, Kentucky, or Clemson won it and they're coming to Baton Rouge, it would not surprise me in the slightest. It just would not surprise me in the slightest if any one of those three teams came out of it. In reference to that, in reference to that region, your regional being more favorable, well, it should be. You're the number 6 overall team. They're number 11. I mean, teams that are lower should have a tougher track to Omaha. Isn't that how that works? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. Cody McGee says, dumb question, will Jay ever coach in Major League Baseball? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. It doesn't feel like Jay's speed to me, Cody, at all. It doesn't feel like his speed. Thank you for the super chat, too. It just doesn't feel like his speed to me. I guess you should never say never, right? Like you should never say never, because we've seen Aaron Boone come out of the booth to go to the Yankees. We plugged Wes Johnson during the middle of a season. I mean, you should never say never to any situation in coaching. I don't know if I can see a situation. And listen, what team is it? Like, is the New York Yankees calling up Jay Johnson to come coach the New York Yankees? Okay, maybe that there's a decision that needs to be made there from Jay. But there are some major league teams that could ask Jay to go and be their manager and coach in Major League Baseball, that there's no way that that job is better than LSU's. None. And by the way, he doesn't get to pick the dudes that he goes after. And those dudes still got to be developed before they get there. I just don't see it. I don't see a world where that happens, Cody, if we're being honest. Fred says Jacob Myers is a damn cheat code. When he's throwing strikes, yes. Him and Chase Shores alike. Let me get back to this Clemson thing before we kind of wrap this up and get out of here and talk a little football before we get out. Clemson. Look, man, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I think that West Virginia is a solid team. Clemson is a solid team. Kentucky is a solid team. You get any three of them in here that you can lose. Kentucky worries me. West Virginia worries me. Clemson worries me. All three of them. Are you more talented than all three of those teams? Yes. Should you beat them in the box at home to go to Omaha? Yes, you should. But they do worry me. They do worry me. I mean, it's a super regional. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Yeah, they would scare me. But in a 3-game series at the box versus any three of those teams, I mean, call me a homer, call me whatever you want. I'm taking you. I'm taking you. And I'm taking you to go 2-0. Mainly because of Cade Anderson and mainly because of Anthony Ianson. You get to a Game 3 scenario. Gus, the regional scares me a little bit more, to be honest with you, than the super regional does. Because in a regional format, you get to a lot of arms, you getting game 4, game 5 situations here, you can be in trouble. You can be in real trouble. You give me a 3-game sample size against Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, it's massively in your favor. And do you use Case and Evans in any one of those situations? It just all depends. It all depends. All right, before we get out of here. So, LSU football freshman reported this week, and your football team will be reporting next week. Now, I know that there's already been, since we've gone and we did a recruiting update, there's already been some scuttlebutt and references some things in recruiting. Here's what I'll say about recruiting. If you thought that any kid that you had committed that was a top recruit was not going to see action from other teams, then you're an idiot. Haven Finney, one of the more talented corners in the country, who was at LSU this weekend, and Tristan Keys are both being sought out very heavily. Do you think, as an example, that you've stopped recruiting Blaine Bradford? Have you? Because I know that they hadn't. Look, man, recruiting is recruiting, and you just got to fend them off. I do think LSU is going to make a move, though, in high school recruiting to really put in and invest the money there, too. And they have to. So we'll see how that works. Freshman moved in this weekend. Couple of things that caught my eye. One, I do think that you're getting a very massive infusion of youth. And for once, you need to have a class that continues to stay within multiple years. I could make the argument that I do think that there are some sleepers in this class that if you allow for them to develop, that you could be set up in a really good situation. I do think of guys like Chase Thomas as an example. I think of others. I do think that this class was a little bit slept on. Here's what was interesting to me, though, that got my attention. What got my attention this weekend about the freshman class for LSU reporting is that once they got moved in, guys, they immediately went to work. They immediately had a session in the weight room. They immediately had a session off campus. I think it was like I don't even know. It's like not Hot Works or whatever it is, but posting it on social media of them getting to work. There is something that Brian Kelly has got to do that LSU has not had a great success of doing as of late, as other programs that have had success have done. Name the time that you have seen Texas. Name the time that you've seen Georgia. Now, Georgia a little bit more than most, but that they've had massive overhauls of guys leaving their program in high school recruiting classes. Guys, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist at Ohio State. It doesn't exist at Penn State. It doesn't exist at Oregon. This class has got to be a standpoint where you put your foot down and you say to yourself, we got to develop from within. Hopefully this young freshman class can come in here and do that because we need them to. This could be a very critical class for Brian Kelly. Very critical. You got to find a way. You have got to find a way. There's 1,900 of y'all in here right now, by the way. We have to find a way to start developing from within and those kids not hitting the portal. Got to. There are a couple of decisions, too, that like Kylan Jackson hitting the door and going to TCU. Guys, I think that massively hurts you. I think it massively hurts you. Because you can't convince me that kid cannot be developed to be better than Major Burns or Sage Ryan. Cannot convince me of it. So this class, man, every one of them, you got to develop from within. And they got to be – some of them are going to be role players. Some of them can be superstars. Great. But you got to hit from within. And you got to develop from within. And I hope that this freshman class can do it. All right. Alexander Taylor says JT Lindsay is going to be in the rotation this year. with running backs, man, sure. We need a running game that can stand up. The question will be, as we go throughout, after baseball's over and we really get into the football season here and we really start breaking it down, and shit, we might even be in baseball season in July and we're talking about this team going into the football season. That could very well be a situation here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't, in reference to JT Lindsay, I don't know if we're going to run the ball enough for there to be a massive, is production from, what is production from him? Because are you going to not give the ball to Harlan Berry? Are you not going to give it to Caden Durham? I don't know if JT Lindsay sees the field before Caleb Jackson. I don't know that. I don't know that. I just don't know if I believe in a world where Joe Sloan wants to run the ball that much. I don't. And by the way, if we're calling a spade, they're going to get Xavion Thomas involved in the run game. They're going to. They showed it all spring. They showed it some last year to try to spark some things. So what if Trey Holly comes back? Then what? By the way, I don't know the last time that you guys, if you've seen Trey Holly recently, he's had to gain 20 pounds of muscle. Had to have. So in reference to JT Lindsay, I just don't know if he's going to see a rotation because I don't think you're going to run the ball more. I think if you had a situation where you ran the ball more like you did in 2022, I could see it. I could see him getting 30, 40 carries on the season, maybe. I just don't know if I see that world. Elsa and Elaine says this guy makes 0 sense sometimes. Probably so. The Les Miles situation, if you're talking about that, if you're just joining the show, Jay Johnson being described to Les Miles got 197 impressions on Twitter. I'm pretty sure y'all saw it. So you knew exactly what I was talking about. You knew exactly what I was talking about. So don't come in here saying I'm making no sense. And if I'm making no sense, then you're just not following it. You're not following the storylines. Brandon Reese says Joe Sloan's under pressure this year. Without a doubt he is. Without a doubt he is. Without a doubt. They got to find a way to run the ball, and I don't know if your offensive line is going to be able to find that way. Colin Brewster says, I saw DBU play Louisiana Tech twice and lost both. They aren't as strong as they have been. They are capable enough. They did lose to Louisiana Tech. We got run ruled by Northwestern State in the midweek. Isn't that the logic we're supposed to throw around here? In reference to Colin's situation, he is correct. And look, in one of those Louisiana Tech games, Zeb Ruddle, if I'm not mistaken, had a 2-home-run game. I'm just not sleeping on him. Because here's the thing about the Louisiana Tech situation. They also blasted the dog shit out of Oklahoma, and they also beat TCU and Oklahoma State. So as much as we want to dog them, you're right. They lost to Louisiana Tech. They also beat some SEC teams and teams that are in the tournament too. So give or take there too. All right. We're out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. It's good to be back. Fantastic to be back. Y'all have a great night. Peace.